Fiona, listen, thank you so much for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being here. I see why the YRs hang out here. This makes sense. It's a nice little place on the rooftop, and I saw a YR way over there in the corner. How you doing? What's your name?
Gabriella.
Gabriella?
Yes.
Man, thanks for being here, Gabriella. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Danny Nix, I saw you over there on this side of the room. Sorry I didn't give you a handshake, brother, but Danny Nix is up here. It's great to see him. Will Robinson. Will and I go back a long way. It's good to see you. Bill Connerly, thank you for being here. Obviously, Fiona. Next state senator?
Next state senator.
Next state senators, we're already there?
We're getting close.
We're getting close? Okay. Seems like we're both getting close.
Yes, sir.
It's like we're both getting close at the same time. James Buchanan, great to see you, my friend. Sydney? Ooh, Congress. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Oh boy. But honestly, you're going to do a tremendous job in Congress. Thank you so much for willing to step up and serve this nation. I will tell you what Capitol Hill needs more than anything are people who are going to be willing to stand firm at every single time. And as long as we have members of Congress who are going to do that, it works. So thank you for your willingness to serve. You're going to do a great job. And, you know, you're going to class up the place too.
Yeah.
It needs some help. It needs some help, you know. With Vern leaving, we need as much help as we can get up there. And real quick, I do want to acknowledge my friend, my colleague, Vern Buchanan, and his service to Sarasota and to the state of Florida. He's done a tremendous job as a member of Congress. Sheriff, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate your support.
That's what they tell me every time I come through Sarasota. I say, how's your sheriff? They go, he's doing a great job. I go, good. That's all I want to know. Because if they say you weren't doing a good job,
We have a problem.
we'd have a problem. But you know, you're doing a great job here in Sarasota County. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for keeping us safe here. I want to start there, but before I'm going to come back to you, Sheriff. Jack Brill, Chairman, Sarasota GOP. Jack, good to seeing you. Thank you for all your leadership here in Sarasota County. You know, you guys run a tight ship in Sarasota. I live down in Naples and Collier County. Our RECs can be interesting sometimes, but we're always focused on turning out the vote. Up here in Sarasota County, Jack, you've done a great job, and I know the other guy who is kind of doing that job, and you guys have always been a model for the state of Florida in terms of making sure that Republicans are active, they're focused, they're turning out the vote, they're keeping Sarasota County red, and helping to keep Florida red. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I want to start here with something that's very important, and it's really the sheriff's responsibility, but it's also the governor's responsibility. We are going to always back the blue. We are going to back our sheriffs. Law and order. Law and order will remain the standard in the state of Florida. People always ask, well, Byron, we know what Governor DeSantis has done on this, and he's done a great job leading our state. We know where Governor Scott stood on this, and he did a great job leading our state. Why do we think that you're going to do the same? It's very simple. When I grew up in New York City, before I moved to Florida at 17 years old, I experienced actually 3 different mayors. My first mayor was Ed Koch. He was okay on law enforcement. My second mayor was David Dinkins. I see the former New Yorkers remember. No need to say anything else. The former New Yorkers remember the Dinkins administration. It was not good when it came to law and order in the city of New York. And then we had this guy come along named Rudy Giuliani. And as a young kid in New York City, I will tell you, living in inner city Brooklyn, you could tell the difference when Rudy took over. Law enforcement was on the street. They were holding people accountable. Our streets got safer. Every year he was mayor, our streets got safer. And that's because Rudy had a commitment to law and order. And watching that as a young kid, my commitment for you, Sheriff Hoffman, and for all the sheriffs and for all the police chiefs in Florida is the same. We are going to be committed to law and order. Because you can't build a good business like this nice, beautiful bar here. You can't have safe streets. You can't build a world-class economy if you first don't have law and order. And that's going to be the standard that will remain in Florida. Let's talk about our economy. We have a great state. We're an everything state. I tell this story all the time. We started as an agriculture state, and then we kind of became a retirement state, and then we became a tourism state. But Florida is so much more than those pieces. We are an everything state. We grow the food that you see on your table every single day. We also, you could tell by the hotels and the regattas and the ships and the boats, people love coming here to be a part of the Florida magic, the Florida dream. They love being here. Obviously, a lot of seniors, none of you in here. You guys are all of you, 45 years old, looking great. People come and they choose Florida for their golden years, and that's going to remain. But it's a new day in Florida. We now have young kids who are leaving other states. They come to Florida to get educated. They want to build that Florida dream for themselves. You have people like me. I moved here 17 years old, 30 years ago. I've built the Florida dream for myself here in our great state. My kids were all born here. I got married here. I built a career here. This is the magic of Florida. Hello. How are you? That's the magic of Florida. And why I'm running is very simple. In 30 years' time, when I'm 77 years old, when I'm in my golden years, and I'm long gone from politics and people have forgotten, I want to make sure that Florida remains the best state in America. We talked about law and order. Let me talk about other ways that this is going to happen. Property taxes. I'm looking at my colleagues in the Florida legislature. Good luck. You got a lot to do. But I believe that they're going to come back with a real solution that's going to help our state and help property owners in our state continue to afford the Florida dream. They've already done great work with Governor DeSantis when it comes to tort reform and making sure we're pushing down insurance costs in our state. We actually anticipate that in Florida, some of our carriers are going to be requesting lower rates, in part because of the reforms that were done. And last year, we didn't have a hurricane. That was a blessing. We needed a break. Especially everybody here in Sarasota County. We needed a break. We believe that going forward, we're going to continue to see lower rates, but we're not going to just rest on that. We're going to do more. We are going to examine every aspect of Florida's regulatory system when it comes to insurance and find all the unique ways to push this down. And I will tell you, your next governor is uniquely positioned to do this because I spent 17 years in the financial industry. That was my career before politics. I also chaired the Insurance and Banking Subcommittee when I was in the Florida House. So I don't need a staffer to tell me what works and what doesn't work. This has been my business. This was my career. And we're going to examine all the different ways to continue to push those costs down. The other thing is housing, how we build housing. We are going to revamp permitting and planning and entitlements in our state. Government today is 30% of the cost of a new home or a new business. 30% is governmental costs. You talk to contractors, you talk to developers, they will tell you the permitting costs and the extended timelines, all it does is raise the cost on building new homes. And the cost is not going to be borne by the contractor. A contractor is a profit margin business, just like a restaurant and bar is a profit margin business. What they do is they pass the costs on, because if they don't, they're out of business. And then there's nobody building anything. We have to be more efficient from the government side. Florida's government, as your next governor, is going to be moving at the speed of business, not at the speed of government. That efficiency is critical for the affordability for the future of our state, and we're going to get that done. Let's talk about the environment. The governor made a great announcement that by 2029, the Central Everglades restoration plans should be completed. We are going to make sure we pick up the ball from Governor DeSantis, and we're going to make sure that the Everglades is restored and repaired once and for all. But we're not going to stop there. Once we're done with that work, we are going to be examining all the wastewater treatment facilities in our state, providing the resources to make sure we modernize them and prepare for Florida's freshwater future. We need fresh water, not just for our current residents today, but for the future people who are going to call Florida home. We're going to be committed to our environment and our ecology, because if we make sure we lay the right plans in place over the next 4 years, that's how Florida remains the very best over the next 30. And we're going to be committed to that as well. It's also about our business community. Listen, I told you earlier, we're more than just a retirement state and a tourism state and an ag state. We have in South Florida, and also here in the Tampa Bay region, and also in Jacksonville area, we have businesses and finance are making their home in Florida. Why? Because New York is stupid. They're dumb. You know, Fiona, I think one of my first acts as governor might be a commendation. I'll have to work with Florida realtors, and we'll have to issue a special commendation for Kathy Hochul and Zorhan Mandani, making them the co-Florida realtors of the year. Because they're doing such a terrible job up there running that state and that city that people are fleeing. And people are going to continue to flee. And with that comes an ability to make sure that we're bringing businesses and industry to Florida for the young kids who are in our schools and are in our universities right now, so they can have high-paying jobs for their future here in Florida. It's also about this spaceport called Kennedy Space Center. Last year they did 165 launches. Going into the future, it's estimated we're going to be doing 1,000 launches a year out of Kennedy Space Center. That's not just rockets going up in the sky. It's manufacturing jobs in our state. It's engineering jobs in our state. It's more legs to the economic stool that is Florida. Today, we're the 14th largest economy in the world. In the future, we'll be the 10th largest economy in the world. And when you have a thriving economy, that only helps people not just afford Florida, but thrive in Florida. But let's talk about the one thing that's on everybody's mind: growth. Everybody's thinking about it. I saw your body language, ma'am. You just shifted.
Building.
You just shifted from left to right.
Stop the building.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth. If you don't have a plan for growth, then that's when it consumes you. Our state needs regional growth management plans. We have to know where the roads are going, where the sheriff's departments are going to go, our firefighter substations are going to go. We have to know where affordable housing, entry-level housing, attainable housing, normal single-family housing is going to go. Where are the new buildings for commercial and industry going? We have to have a plan for this. I love our state. I love it. But Florida doesn't really do urban sprawl. I know that's everybody's concern. What Florida does do is suburban sprawl. We go further and further out. The roads never seem to catch up. People are frustrated because they're just trying to get to go see their friend. They want to go see their homegirl. They want to go pick up their kids. I have 3 of them myself. They want to get to the practice, get to the game, also get home, put food on the table. In short, they want to live and they want it to make sense. The only way we can do that as a state going forward is we need regional growth planning. What's the next 10, 20, and 30 years of Florida going to look like? On a map, not just in somebody's mind. You see, unlike other people, I prefer to tell you the truth. The truth is, because we're a well-run state, and because we're the envy of the other 49 states, people are going to choose Florida. I hear the talk, build a wall. I supported and fought for a president who's building that wall. But you can't build a wall between Florida and Georgia. That's unconstitutional. I hear the talk, Florida's full. Well, guess what? If there is somebody who owns property who chooses they want to develop it, and they build new rooftops, there are going to be people who are going to come and buy those homes. We live in a constitutional republic, which means Americans get to choose which states they want to live in. So I hear all the talk that come from people today, a lot of it on social media, and they say, I'm going to stop all the growth. Let me be very clear. They are lying to you. The truth is we have to have a plan for how we manage the growth that is going to come to Florida. And if we manage that growth, then we can still make sure people are getting from point A to point B efficiently, while also protecting our rural lands, protecting our conservation lands, protecting our agricultural lands, and preserving the beauty that is Florida. I like to say that I choose to live where Rush Limbaugh, God rest his soul, chose to live. I choose to live in real Linda. I choose to live in the real world. And the real world is you have a plan for your future. Politics is saying we're just going to stop everything. That's politics. It's not the truth. It's not reality. Your next governor of Florida has to have a plan and a strategy for the future of our state. Because if we don't have that, then we will choke on our growth. And we'll choke on our success. And I don't want that to happen. I want a Florida that is bigger, better, and brighter than it's ever been before. We have a solemn responsibility to protect and defend the Florida dream. There was a state that was in a similar position to our state. This state used to be the hub of innovation. It used to be the hub of where you started small businesses. It used to be the hub where young kids would go to get educated. It was the hub of great weather and great resources. Still is today. They had a tagline for this state. The tagline was California Dreamin'. And we all know that the California dream has become a California nightmare. And it became a nightmare because of crazy, radical, progressive policies that promised a lot of things but could never deliver. What we are fighting for is to preserve and protect the Florida dream. We want everybody to be Florida dreaming. I was in the Villages 2 weeks ago. There was a World War II vet, 101 years old. He looked at me, stopped me dead in my speech, and I said, "Sir, because you're a World War II vet and you're 101 years old, you can stop me whenever you like." And he looked at me and he said, "Byron, you tell him as you go across the state, you tell him that when you buy a house in Florida, you're not buying a piece of property, you're buying a way of life. And what we are going to protect as your next governor is the way of life in Florida while preparing it for its future." That's why I'm running to be your next governor. It's going well, by the way. But that's why I'm running to be your next governor. So God bless you. Thank you for being here, Sarasota.